Hello everyone, this is Lucas, and today I'm just showing you the successful installation of Mobian installed on my new Pinephone, and I'm going to show you how I did this today. It was a little bit of an adventure for sure, and I ran into a couple hurdles, and the instructions online on pinephone.org aren't exactly they're helpful up to a point, but after that, they don't seem to make any sense. I've been a Linux user for a long time, so I'm very excited to have a Pinephone, more excited to have Mobian on it because thanks to Mobian, and I still have this as my default here, but Mobian does have King's Cross, and if you're a Linux user, you got to have your terminal, man. So as long as I have that, I'm good. I was originally running the KDE software that came with this, but the terminal wasn't as we'll say developer friendly, I guess, for the KDE. I never really did play around with it, and I mean, I'm already versed in Debian, so I didn't see any reason to keep it. Although I didn't have any problems with it, I actually thought it worked really well as an OS. Problems I ran into, sorry. SD cards. I had one SD card, no matter how many times I formatted or deleted the partitions, it just wouldn't take an image properly, even though my computer and the phone had no issue with the image up to a certain point. So what would end up happening is that the phone would boot into Mobian from the SD card, and then it would hang at the user login screen. There's a little user text login screen that comes up before it boots into the main OS, the home screen, but it never ever did get there, even though I would see the Mobian logo come up and everything would load and I'd get my progress wheel and everything looked cool. Nope, it would hang at the user login screen and it wouldn't automatically go into the desktop. This happened both from SD card, and it also happened to me on the EMMC as I was flashing it, and I'm going to tell you how I got around with it on the EMMC. As with the SD card, no matter what I did to that one SD card, it just wouldn't work. I had the exact same SD card, did the exact same thing, and it worked. And I actually have to keep the two separate because the one SD card actually is doing the same thing when it comes to using the jump drive connection. So, if you go onto the pinephone.org website and you followed everything up to where you're connecting the phone to jump drive, the second issue I ran into was the cable that came with the Pinephone. This isn't either a data cable, and that's why they make it red, and it's only a charging cable, or it's just junk because I can't get it to connect to my Pinephone to the computer. It doesn't talk to it. No connection. So when I plug in the USB, and I type in the lsblk command, which you should be checking to find out where your Pinephone is connected to your Linux machine, it does not come up. So I couldn't even find it as SDB or anything else. On my particular system, it comes up as SDB when I do the lsblk command when it's plugged into the USB. And before I was able to get the image to take, I flashed the image to the EMMC once, but I didn't delete the partitions in SDB first. So be sure you're connected to your Pinephone when you delete the partitions. For this particular instance, I used gparted. It was good enough. And all you need to do is type sudo gparted and then dev SDB, and then that will bring you there for my particular machine. Be really careful with your lsblk when you're trying to find your Pinephone. Once you have the partitions deleted on your Pinephone, you then create a new partition, which I did. I created a new partition, unlabeled, unallocated, all that stuff, just a new partition, and then I deleted that partition. I know that sounds kind of weird, but then I just had it as unallocated space, so it was just straight out SDB, no partition, nothing. And then I made sure I saved the changes in gparted, came back and I typed this command in. So I used the dd command and I wrote the Mobian disk image, which is right here. It originally comes in as a GZ, so you'll have to unpack it. There's other tutorials on how to unpack your GZs. But once I had the image unpacked, I put it into an OS images folder, and I named Mobian So I have the image in that specific folder. I moved it to the folder and I unpacked it, and then yeah, you just dd if mobian blah 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 of dev, and your dev being your stb in my case, bits per second one, and then status of progress. And the status of progress will give you the transfer rate, and it'll let you know when the image transfer is done. So you're not sitting there hanging wondering if the terminal took your command or not. Otherwise, it will just sit there. If you don't put the status progress, it will still work, but you're going to sit there watching your cursor do nothing for the next 7 minutes while it loads the image, but it will eventually load. Yeah, so far so good. So if you like these videos, give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll be back with some more Pinephone stuff for you.